Here we are in Te Papa in front of the fabulous Magritte House of Glass with the exhibition curator Lizzie Bisley. Thank you very much. Got a few questions to ask the library users about this awesome exhibition. So first off, for anybody who's unfamiliar with surrealism, how would you describe it? What's its characteristics?
So surrealism emerged in France in the early 1920s, and we really mark the kind of launch of surrealism from 1924 when the French writer René Magritte published his manifesto of surrealism. And in the 1920s you get this gathering of young artists and writers and musicians and filmmakers who are all kind of gathering together in Paris and trying to think about, in the aftermath of the war, how they can make things work differently and look at the world differently through their work. And so they come, the kind of ideas of surrealism come out of that moment of trying to have a different kind of perspective on the world and bring new ideas.
It's been a very long while since there's been a major surrealist exhibition in New Zealand. I did a little bit of homework, I think 1970s, and there was 30 paintings. So how come you managed to get 180 surrealist masterpieces to Papa? I know there's a story about it. What is that story?
Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting to have such a big show come to New Zealand, and one of the things that I love about this exhibition is that it has some really big, important names, so people like René Magritte, who we're standing in front of, Marcel Duchamp, Leonora Carrington, people who for visitors will really know, Salvador Dalí. But then there are also some lesser known artists, and it's quite exciting to be able to bring these people's work to New Zealand audiences as well. And the exhibition has been, it's all of the work in the exhibition is borrowed from the Museum Boijmans van Beuningen in Rotterdam. They have a particularly great surrealism collection because they had a very interesting modern art curator in the 1960s, a woman called Renilde Hammacher, who decided she kind of made this very conscious decision that she was going to collect surrealist art, and she developed all of these friendships and relationships with different artists and collectors, and through those relationships was able to build this incredible collection that we now have.
There is so much to see here, and there's pretty much art for every taste.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, what are your personal favourites? But do you have them?
I do. It's hard to have personal favourites, but I do have some. Probably my number one is a painting by the British-Mexican artist Leonora Carrington, which is in the first room of the exhibition. It's this very magical, kind of glowing work, which portrays this strange garden scene where you have this sense of things constantly in flux and this kind of opening up to other worlds that might be happening through the work. And it's a painting that really rewards close looking because it's full of all these magical tiny details, so the more you look at it, the more you'll see and find in the work. Some other particular favourites, I've been pretty amazed at having the Salvador Dalí works in the building and being able to spend a lot of time looking at those. Again, just this incredible detail that you get from all of his works, and these very strange little motifs that come out, kind of strange figures in the distance, and that you can never quite get a grasp of what might be happening, and I love that, how challenging they can be as paintings.
Do you think the surrealist movement has had a lasting effect on art, and I'm thinking about modern movements and art, and perhaps more generally in just general culture?
Yeah, I think it's had a huge impact. In terms of art, I think you can particularly see it in the last kind of 20 to 30 years with the ways in which artists like Marcel Duchamp have really had a big influence on kind of more conceptual art. And we're going to actually be having a display on level 5 at Te Papa, which will open in a couple of weeks' time, curated by my colleague Megan Tamati-Cornell, where she looks at how some contemporary New Zealand artists have been influenced. A lovely view into that. I think surrealism has also had a massive impact on our kind of ways of thinking, particularly the irony and the playfulness of surrealism. So surrealism is a very, there's often a lot of dark humour involved in surrealist art. And I think that kind of language of twisting things and turning them on their head and taking the ordinary and making it extraordinary is something that pervades a lot of our visual culture, everything from kind of advertising to film and artwork.
And will the cafe be putting on a special surrealist menu? I was thinking in particular about Leonora Carrington's infamous hair omelettes.
Yeah, we've had quite a lot of fun with them, also with Dalí's surrealist cookbook. So we've been doing a lot of reading up on that. And yes, the cafe will be doing some surrealist treats, and they'll be having surrealist high teas. So the menu for that is looking pretty fun.
Actually, just one more question. There's lots of complimentary lectures and performances and stuff. I know you're going to do a family surrealist art day.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're having a really great Whānau Day, which will be on the 15th of July, so during the school holidays, and it's basically a way of introducing the surrealists love to play around with different art making techniques. So on this day we'll have a series of stations set up around the museum, and we'll be inviting children to use different surrealist techniques like collage or rubbing paper with it against a texture to create an image, and then they'll be able to try out all of these different techniques and then bind all of their artworks together in a book at the end of the day. So it'll be fabulous.
That is great. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time. It's a wonderful exhibition.
Oh, thank you so much.